episode number 592. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me on what is... It's a big day. It's a big day. It's exciting news, man.
Did something happen?
I mean, look, it's not often that you get big mergers and steps forward that you see huge opportunity. Not that you don't get new entrants into the marketplace. Yep. You do every now and then, but those always come with a little, I don't know, I'm not throwing shade at GFL, but stuff like that, where you're like, oh, what are they really doing? Is there anything going to happen?
About GFL.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to just start the day throwing shade, but when somebody comes in, you do start going, I don't know. But then when you have two proven commodities coming together, it's big. So we'll talk about all that. There is some bad news as well. It's the highest of highs. It's the lowest of lows. Yeah. The Anthony Smith thing.
It's a pretty low.
We'll certainly talk about that as well. But before we get into all that, I mean, we got the man has come off the mountain. He is.
Once you're on the mountain, you never quite come off the mountain.
You return from the wilderness, and so I got to hear a little bit about your journey there. And then I step in, and once again, we are in the greenhouse. This is the favorite place.
The converted greenhouse.
Preferred locale is the radio studio. The podcast studio has become the greenhouse. And there's some growth happening over here. I wish people, if we were doing video, I would certainly pop up these huge saplings. I mean, you are a savvy gardener over here. You got some growth happening.
There is definitely some growth. There's definitely lessons being learned. That is for sure. What started as, hey, just put these seeds in there and then, things will happen. Well, things started happening for sure. And I was just like, this is amazing. And then it doesn't stop at that. And that was the big part that I have to learn is that, there's different stages as it goes through the whole seedling thing of when you're supposed to do things like remove the humidity hood, do this, do that, don't overwater, blah, blah, blah. So while I'm I went from staring at dirt, waiting for something to pop through, to see the things pop through, and then now I've got where the humidity domes are off. I had to get different lights because the other lights weren't able to get close enough to the things. And so now I've
see the lights set up, bro. You got a multi. I mean, you're definitely. It's like this is definitely going to be a grow house sooner or later, bro. Like this is the entry point. You know what I mean?
This is where it starts.
This is how they get you hooked. They start you out growing tomatillos and chili peppers like you got over here. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, we noticed you're spending a lot of money on this gardening equipment.
You ever heard of Northern Lights?
Would you like to turn it
you
profitable?
Like some Sensimelia? Yeah, instead of tomatilla, how about a Sensimelia?
Oh, that's great.
But no, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's become a full-on hobby. That is it for sure. I mean, it's a lot of fun stuff. But I mean, it's fun. It kind of goes with, like you said,
pastime.
That's it. It's a healthy pastime. Nobody wants explosive diarrhea, and but no, honestly, with the trying to eat better sourced food, the whole regenerative farming thing, that I've been really trying to read into a lot lately as well. Not to make this a spiel, but the world is hurting for water and a lot of the things with soil and stuff.
Don't get them started on the data centers.
So, with data centers,
don't get them started.
We need farmers, not data centers. Even though I do like my AI, so I'm at a conundrum. But I mean, I think there are limits.
Just I hate this technology, but it's so good.
It's helping me learn how to garden. It's so weird. But so I've been trying to do better of paying attention to where food is sourced, and trying to help people that are actually doing regenerative farming, which is about trying to replenish the soil, as opposed to a lot of the world is industrial farming, where they tear down the soils and they spray chemicals and the other sort of stuff. And it eventually, if the soil and the water doesn't get back into the ground, you start getting this desertification, which is like a desert, just like it sounds. So now a lot of farmers are employing different crops and using the animals and rotating around, where they're actually putting more carbon back into the soil, which in turn helps put water back into the soil, which is turning things green again. Like they're doing a lot of, there was a movie I just saw called Groundswell, and it started looking at countries like Africa, Australia, which had really bad areas where a lot of desert, and you're seeing them actually turn things around. And it's just really amazing. And so when I started learning more about that, I was like, well, I want to start, buying stuff from farmers that are doing that. It costs a little bit more, but when you know that people are out there trying to actually look out for the world instead of just looking out for a bottom line, I'd rather pay a little bit more to help them out, and in the process eat a little bit better and other stuff.
Always doing good,
always
bro.
trying to do something.
Volunteering your time. you do charity.
I guess
work.
This is me going all in on this as well.
Man.
But it's and this what I'm doing is not regenerative farming. If anything else, I'm taking some of the aspects of what they're doing and and just making your own sort of stuff. And I will start composting soon, which is a little bit something.
Yeah, should share for the audience. As I rolled up to the gates of the estate here, I noticed a box outside, and I'm like, cold coffee is usually pretty good. Like when there's a delivery,
I bring it in.
He knows it. Like he gets the alert on his phone. I mean, he's tech savvy. He gets the alert right away. And he's like, I'm going to get my Amazon right now. I'm going to get my groceries. But there was a box sitting outside. Which, by the way, if you live in Las Vegas, it's 110 degrees outside. Not a bad thing to get stuff out of the sunlight.
That
as
is
quick
true.
As you can.
That
but
is true.
I walked up and I'm like, that's a big box. I'm like, I wonder what kind of new tech gear. Yeah, like, bro, you're always, getting new camera gear, video production type stuff. I'm like, let's see what kind of toys he's got now. And it was what was it, a
double-sided composter.
Double-sided composter. I was like, look at this
portable composter.
Like, this dude is, I mean, are we ready? Do we need to go disconnect the power right now and cut the water lines?
Unfortunately,
I mean, can we take this
I'm not
property off the grid?
I'm not off the grid yet, But no, it's funny. Yeah, I get it. I guess I get it. It's become, like I said, it's become a full-on hobby now.
Awesome.
It's
hey, there's worse things that you can do with your time.
And that's it. Ultimately, it's learning things that I think it's important that to have some sort of a knowledge should we ever have to live. Say if you want to live off grid.
You're getting ready for the apocalypse, aren't you? You're like, bro, when the apocalypse happens, you guys are not gonna. I'm farming.
I'll have some bomb ass tomatillas at least. The rest of the stuff maybe not so much.
Zombies, like I'm growing my tomatillas. Like, man, it looks unsafe out there.
I'm like,
and then I'm composting.
I'm composting shit. Like, let's go. It's again, it's a healthy, fun little pastime,
cool.
but it's a little obsessive. But it's funny because my grandparents were farmers. They were dairy farmers and other stuff. And there was a point where I remember when I talked to other people that actually farmed and whatnot, and they're like, well, but you know how to plant this, whatever. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. And I was like, I don't really know how, you know. So it's been a big learning process, but it's one of those things, too. It could be a skill that you use every once in a while, but also it never hurts to understand at least the process of how to create your own food or whatever.
It's fun. I mean, you and I are both the same in this, and obviously we'll get to MMA because it is a big day. But I love to cook. I really enjoy cooking.
100%.
And I think there's something beyond just the process. If there's something kind of rewarding about, like, I made this meal. Yep. I took the products and I put this together and I made this. And how good does it taste? And for my family and for myself, there is something cool about that. So I kind of imagine, and I wouldn't know the feeling because I've never been there, but back that up a little bit and be like, I grew this from the ground.
Right.
I made this happen.
That's the
and
next
then I prepped
level.
it up.
That's what I'm hoping.
That is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
Even though it's funny, you always see those memes. Somebody's like, I'm harvesting my garden. And they'll have like one little cherry tomato. Or that's probably going to be my first harvest. There's going to be one cherry tomato.
Cherry tomatoes usually the
but
first
I
one.
will savor that little thing.
Cut it up, little mozzarella, little balsamic on that, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, maybe you could go milk your cow back there to get the mozzarella. Make it all. Hey, that's cool.
No, it's been fun.
Did have a good time on your getaway, though? I know you got out.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Again,
it was 20 degrees cooler up there.
That's what I was going to say. For people that don't know, if you are it is tough to visit Vegas in the summer. Like, it's hot.
Yeah, you got to be prepared for it.
You got to be prepared. But if you have time, and I know most people focus their trips to the Strip or whatever. But if you're here for an extended period of time, or you're just looking for something to do, like getting up in the mountains is cool, and it's always like 20 to 30 degrees cool.
It was 100. I remember one of the days I looked, it was 104 degrees down here, and it was 84 up there. At night, it was like in its 60s.
That's huge.
I slept like a baby, and I was just like, this is incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. A lot of people when they visit Vegas, it could be 100 degrees, but most people don't feel it because they're inside a place. And people are always like, "How do you live in that?" And I'm like, "Bro, we're not just outside all day long. We just stay in the AC." And so that's it. Yeah, when you come visit during these hot summer months, you got to be prepared because a lot of people want to walk. They're like, "Oh, we'll walk the Strip."
No.
They eventually learn that kind of sucks, because you're sweating your behind off, and you drink more beer to try to stay hydrated, and then you just go out more, and sweat even more. But getting up there, it was just beautiful. It was green, and just hearing all the different birds, and me being the bird nerd, I pull out my little app to see the different birds. I was like, oh, I don't get these in my backyard,
That's awesome.
It was a trip. But then you see other people up there just enjoying themselves camping. There were a lot of families. And so you could see kids getting their first taste of camping.
Yeah.
You could see the families that had their kids for the first time that left after a night, and I'd see their campground was still reserved for the second night. I'm like, well, they tried.
Like,
they tried. But I think that it's a lot of fun. But no, it was so good, and it literally is an hour. It was like 50-some minutes, depending on how fast you drive. So I mean, it was so worth it, and it was just really nice. But
That's cool. I have to make
there's a lot of cool campgrounds up there.
I know you've got some other dates reserved, so I think me and the kid will have to get out there. I don't think I can get my wife out there. But
I was gonna say it's not for everybody, but even if it's just a little day trip, or even just going out, get a little campfire, make a s'mores, and then head back. But if you could stay. It's a lot of fun.
That's fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's some bonding stuff for sure.
I did see, by the way, too, and the last thing on this is that they're rebuilding the lodge. So there used to be a great lodge up at the top of Mount Charleston. It burned down.
Is it done now?
Is it done already?
I feel like it might be done or something. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
So if you're not into the camping, roughing it type thing, check it out. It's either done or it's going to be done soon.
Yep.
Beautiful
and there's
place.
The lodge is over there, which is down around the corner, which is actually like a hotel, by the things. And then up by where the, what was it called? The other cabin lodge or whatever sort of thing. They have cabins out there, and that's right next to a campground as well, where if you want to do the tents or whatever. But yeah, it's but the views.
Good restaurant,
I mean, it's just,
get a cocktail or whatever, and just the views. Like I said, it's shocking that it's less than an hour from Vegas, right? Because you're up in the wilderness and evergreen trees, and it snows during the winter. You can snow ski and snowboard. All
that's
that
the crazy part. I mean, like
less than an hour from the Strip.
Less than an hour, and it's such an easy drive. It's straight. It's like 2 streets.
Yeah,
you straight up the 15, and then take a left on I forget what that.
161.
It was definitely Cow Canyon, whatever that road is.
Or not.
And it literally just runs you straight in there. But it definitely says Cow Canyon.
Blue Diamond might be 161 actually. I don't
Could
know.
be.
Anyway.
But literally it's like 2 streets, and it's just like so easy. But yeah, so nice, so nice. I think that's the kind of thing that people, I think it's like the same thing when they come out and they go out to Red Rock Conservation Area. They're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
This is incredible. This is beautiful. And then you go to Mount Charleston, it's a whole different level.
Strip is awesome. I'm not a Strip hater, man. I like the Strip. There's great restaurants, shows, all that stuff. The properties themselves are just amazing. I mean, we just did a staycation at Fontainebleau just to go enjoy their facilities. Great pool, great gym, great restaurants, all that. But there's a lot of cool stuff to do outside of the Strip. And so if you're ever in town and you're looking for some advice or just want to come hang out, hit us up. We'll take care of you. So, all right, let's talk about the good news. So like I said, first, the PFL merger, again, I have a lot of hope for this. And it's funny because this, to me, seemed like an obvious partnership for a long time. If you've been listening to the show, you know that we've talked about this as a possibility. The now shuttered Cage Side with John Morgan on Grind City Media. I talked about it a lot there as well. Like, this just seems like a natural partnership, right? You've got two organizations that need a little bit of assistance and need certain things to grow, right? I mean, it's hard to go against and again, I don't think they're trying to go against the UFC. You don't need to take down the UFC, but you do have to carve out your own niche and have your own place. These two organizations together, I think, have a really good shot at doing that, right? The PFL has done a fantastic job of running an event week after week, assimilating a roster, an intriguing roster.
That's the big part right there.
Yeah, it's got to be an intriguing roster. And by the way, PFL, and I'm just going to say it now, they are getting aggressive with signing prospects, which I think is smart, and I think is a benefit of all of this, which even if you're a UFC fan and that's all you watch and you don't watch other things, competition is good in the marketplace, right? Because it keeps the UFC sharp on their game. It makes them work a little bit harder. It gives more options for fighters to be like, hey, I can have 2 bidders for my services, and maybe that helps raise the rate. It just is more places, right? There's only so many roster spots in the UFC. This is more places to get good. So all these things are good. So competition in the marketplace is good. But I've always said competition that's just burning through money and that has no real chance of success, that's not a good thing because it's not long-term sustainable. It's just going to turn people off to the product. They're investors if they lose money in it. You know what I mean? So just having people enter the marketplace is good on the surface, but not if you know that they're going to lose money because people are only going to lose money for so long and then they're out. These two companies are positioned well. So again, back to why it seemed like the obvious partnership. PFL has done a great job building the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the operations that it takes, all that. And it is. It's trust me, I'm learning more and more every day in my role with CFFC, and I love it. But just how many things are involved in pulling these things off. Meanwhile, MVP, they've done one show. Now, granted, they've done boxing, so they do have some experience, and this thing does include boxing.
And they're doing a lot of boxing.
A lot of boxing.
Like, they're staying very, very busy in boxing. Yeah, they're staying very active, and they're legit signing some key boxers.
Especially on the women's side, right?
On the women's side.
Great job on the women's side.
And they just created, and this is right on the heels of MVP and Matchroom Boxing joining forces to really push women's boxing ahead. I mean, granted, that's on the women's side of things, but Matchroom Boxing, I mean, you're talking about one of the hugest promoters in boxing that there is. So that to go on right on the heels of that, to then switch over and grab this MMA portion, which a lot of people were like, how can you try to do both things? I mean, they're doing so good right now with their boxing, what they're doing for women, to try to take on and try to become a MMA organization off to the side is a huge ask. I mean, let alone Jake is doing all of his other little side projects. Nikisa's doing his other little things. So to reach out and grab the PFL, who's already like, oh, you want MMA? You want to kind of have, this built in? What a perfect combination.
Huge.
And I think it's very, very suiting when it comes up to, because the broadcast deal was coming up as well. So a lot of people were wondering what was going to go on.
Great timing for negotiations.
As for this, it's crazy. And I haven't seen the full thing, but I mean, like, it's not just like, hey, guys, let's start doing work. PFL is paying money to MVP to do this. So, I mean, they're investing in this. So for MVP and the way that those guys have been able to kind of pick and choose and do their things, if, we said before, you can't discount Jake, and you can't look at him as not a real boxer because he was doing the work. But in terms of some of these deals, I know a lot of this is Nikisa, but I will give credit to Jake because Jake is part of this as well. Some of these moves that they're making and these connections, chef's kiss, just amazing. Amazing ones that they're picking for this.
I think that's spot on of you and good, because I know a lot of people want to downplay Jake Paul, and I get it, man. He brings on haters. He enjoys that. You know what I mean? But his idea, Grant, Nikisa is the one that understands how to make big deals happen, right? And how to structure them appropriately so that that's definitely him.
So that the shareholders know what they're getting when they're getting this.
Exactly right.
Venture capital.
Venture capital.
Venture thinking.
Capture ventilist. I like that.
I was like, what do they call it? Venture cap? That's my dyslexia kicking in there.
He's VC, venture capitalist. He is. But Jake has a vision, man. And Jake understands, like, hey, man, he might not know, hey, here's how I get to point B, but it's like, we're sitting here at point A. Here's where I think point B should be. This is what I think would be successful. Help me figure out how to do it. So he deserves a lot of credit.
And cause enough ripples just to keep the talking points there. Like, even when he went back and was like, oh, hey, Dana, you guys used to want to, like, try to crap on these guys, but now you want to try to do things with them as well, but he said it in a way where it was just like, you were trying to do whatever, but now you see that you do need them,
a little bit.
He's doing it in a way that
speaks truth.
Speaking truth, and he's also not doing it in a way where it's just like, okay, I'm not going to work with this dude, because I can see them now, be like, okay, yeah, you're right, you're jabbing a little bit, but it doesn't mean that we can't do work because you didn't cross a line,
right?
So like the door's still there. Like, he's smart enough, whether or not somebody's like, hey, maybe you want to say something, but don't close a door for us.
Don't need to create a full-on enemy.
Yeah, and I thought it was great that he kind of jabbed back a little bit, and that's part of, I think, what helps with this brand and with this group is keeping on the edge and being that other thing that people want to. A lot of people want to go after Dana, and they want to go after the UFC, and they want to go after Zuffa, and they want to go after whatever. You see this poster child right here that's like, this is the face of the company that's going anti all this stuff. Let's buy into this cat. But he's not running with it so hard. He was a little bit harder earlier, but now I think he understands, don't burn a bridge that you can make some money from, and I think he's towing the line perfectly. But I thought it was great when they just kind of pulled out and said some things the other day. But to have this back-to-back for MVP, that's 2 huge wins within a 7-day period. Man, this is like massive news.
And I'll tell you what, and obviously deals like this don't come together quickly. They take a long time. So I don't know how much of the announcement was planned based on what's going on right now. But, and again, this is only a week, and it's not like it changes anything. But it is just the cherry on top. You get to make this beautiful, big announcement, and this Saturday night, the UFC's early in Belgrade with a card that people aren't really talking about.
Right.
And you're actually prime time on Saturday night, unopposed, with, by the way, some of your highest, Usman Nurmagomedov, Dakota Ditchva, some of your highest value, highest recognition athletes on there. So, whether that was like, hey, we see this as a strategic perfect point to launch it, or this is just when it came together, it is pretty damn good timing.
Yeah, especially when you put it like that. Because, when it comes to the PFL, like the 2 fighters at the top of the bill, easily trumps what's going on over at the UFC. I mean, they are two of the biggest stars that are left on the PFL roster, so for them to bring it out. And it probably was just maybe a coincidence. I mean, I think
I would think so, to be honest with you.
I would see it more just riding on the coattails of that MVP matchroom news, that they wanted to just like strike while it was hot and just while everybody was talking about the matchroom. They're like, outside of the matchroom, let's talk about this, because people are knowing now, especially on the boxing side, people are aware of MVP. When they joined up with Matchroom, if you're a boxing person paying attention, you at that point can't not pay attention to MVP. So people are looking at them, and a lot of those people maybe are not familiar with the PFL. So why not ride the coattails of that to bring on and say, hey, wait, everybody, look at this over here. PFL, who easily has a great roster and doing this other sort of stuff. Now they're part of this organization as well. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, but it is interesting when it calls it a merge when they're actually paying. I'm not sure what the final deals are and what actually is merged. When you think about merging, you usually think about one ownership team, and I'm not quite sure that is initially what this is, if it isn't maybe more just a...
So, you're right. So we don't know all the details of it, right? But the press release did say that as part of the transaction, existing PFL shareholders, 885 Capital, and affiliated entities of Knighthead Capital Management, LLC, are becoming founding investors of the new entity, committing new capital, ensuring the combined company launches with the strongest balance sheet in its history. So, yes, this is two companies coming together.
Yeah.
It sounds like, from what we understand, some money went to the side of MVP. So, I guess it's like a stock and cash acquisition, essentially, that's funded by these by this venture capital.
When you start hearing the thing new entity, though, you always wonder, so new entity but still maintain the same names? Or are we changing? Are we creating an actual new brand?
It does say they're going to operate under the MVP banner. So PFL, as we know it, will go away. It sounds like it'll just be MVP. They are going to still maintain their presence in boxing, of course, mixed martial arts, live events, athlete development, and worldwide content distribution, I should say. I did think this was funny, by the way. That was part of the press release. The new company will be led by co-founders and board members Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian, with John Martin serving as CEO and board member. Badarian will continue to oversee MVP's boxing business and blockbuster live events, and then the parentheses, BLE. So you know how WWE started the premium live events when they went away from the pay-per-view, so they called them PLEs?
Yeah.
Well, they've got BLEs. So I thought that is very much inside baseball, but I thought it was pretty funny that they've got their own thing there. But look, I think this is a good thing all the way. I really, really do. I don't know how many people watched PFL last week. The PFL, the card last week got, torn to shreds. They had weight misses. They had injuries. They had withdrawals. But it still ended up being a hell of an entertaining night.
Yep.
And it wasn't against the UFC. Obviously, the UFC was off the air early.
The main event was incredible.
Oh, my God, that main event, dude. Like, the card was fun. If you watched that Abu Dhabi card from start to finish like I did, you had some entertaining moments, and you had, it was good. Main event was not good at all.
Yeah.
Like, it was not good. And it left you with that sour taste in your mouth. But the PFL card was very, very entertaining. And so hopefully a lot of people watched it. Hopefully maybe this week's news will get people to tune into PFL New York. Again, Usman Nurmagomedov versus Archie Colgan.
That's a good fight.
That's a hell of a fight. It was funny. I was talking earlier this week with Josh Thompson about breaking it down, and he did a great job of breaking down, Archie Colgan's wrestling background and how that could give Usman Nurmagomedov some problems and stylistically. And I thought it was great insight, and it's 100% accurate. The other thing, I was like, Josh, don't even go that deep. It's 21-0 versus 13-0. Just tell somebody that.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you see that? 21-0 and 13-0 fighting each other, like. Tune in, right?
Yep.
Dakota Ditcheva, the face of the promotion, the Golden Girl. She's exciting. She's entertaining. Going against Denise Kielholtz, the odds of that are insane. And I believe that Dakota Ditcheva is absolutely going to win this fight.
How bad is it?
Dakota's like minus 4,000.
Oh my gosh! I was going to say minus 2,000. That's
crazy. It's crazy. And Denise Kielholtz is. Look, I believe she's 39 at this point. She stepped away from the sport for a while. She's smaller in the frame. Like, granted, everything in the world is against her, but it's still a fight. It's
still a fight.
Minus 4,000.
At the end of the day, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good card. Amru Magomedov facing Angel Alvarez. Angel Alvarez came through CFSC, I should say. Beat the reigning champion, but missed weight. and because he missed weight, was unable to take the belt. Ended up getting signed with PFL. I did see actually that he missed weight this week as well, and it was the same. I believe, if I recall right, and I don't, you know what, I believe it's the exact same thing. He's 156.2 because at CFFC we also do 1 pound allowance for title fights. We just figure, hey, at the developmental level, give him the extra pound. Don't make him cut. You know what I mean? So we go ahead and give a pound even in championship matches. But I believe, if I remember right, he was 156.2 that night as well. So that damn .2 is haunting him. But apparently he's not going to be fined, and the fight's going to go unscheduled. But anyway, a good card. And again, another card that's not going to go against the UFC. So if you haven't been given the PFL a chance, maybe this is the time to tune back in and just say, let me check out what they're doing over there, right? Like, I think Sean O'Connell and Dan Hardy do a great job on the broadcast.
Yep.
The quality, the professionalism of the broadcast. Still, sometimes their pacing during the show is good, especially because they're not doing these, like, 15-fight cards anymore or whatever. Like, they're keeping it pretty tight. They're doing, like, 9 and 10-fight cards. Their pacing is good. I will say one thing I don't like, and I feel like it's every week, is that the start time that they schedule is not like the first fight. They do like a almost like a 20-minute pre-show or whatever, and it's like, dude, I don't need you talking about the fights that long. Like, tell me when to start. I get it. They're trying to hook people in and set them, but anyway, I don't know, man. Overall, I think this is a very, very good thing. I don't see any bad sides to it that I see right away. I mean, unless you're just somebody that's like, I'm a UFC purist, and I want to see all the athletes under one banner. I mean, I guess that's the only argument. If you're like, now there's certain fights that we might never get to see because they're going to be for competing organizations. I guess that's fair to say as a fan. Like, I just wish everybody was under the same banner so they could all fight each other.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, an athlete perspective, a fan perspective, from me, the more the better. I'll watch fights every night. I think this merger is really, really good news.
I mean, you're going to have people that, I think the people that are in the MMA space, the diehards, the people that have been following the sport and knew who the PFL were, but the fact that now you have a whole new crop of people that are going to get thrown at them, and see this. And the way the MVP, just this sort of the energy, it's hard to describe, but I love it's like this influx of like young energy. Maybe it's just new energy. It's
Agreed.
new vibe or something, and I'm looking forward to see new people, anytime new fans of the sport come in, it's good for the strength of the sport, of the industry, and it's always kind of neat to just see that exciting when people discover MMA for the first time. And now you're getting a whole reemergence of boxing as well, which has kind of been fun seeing that again. It's just good for the sport. It's good for, especially for our chosen line of work. It's kind of good that we're seeing reemergence and something that, I feel like we've talked about the PFL for years and years, just wondering, like, is this going to be it? Is this going to be it? How do they keep going? How do they keep going?
Right.
And I'll admit, we're talking about different things, and I think while we were speculating this could happen, I don't think I would have put it on my bingo card of happening like this soon or something, or I figure we would have heard talks and then maybe, see something. So it's kind of interesting that it just kind of came together really quickly, and now to see it happening, I'm excited to see, what it is. I certainly have a stronger belief in the future of PFL now, especially if MVP can possibly put their MMA side onto Netflix more often. Like, if there is an actual pipeline to keep Netflix as a possibility going forward, it's huge. I mean, we've already seen numbers on even though what the Rousey show was and the other little ones, but I mean, it creates a whole new, just strength behind the PFL that I just felt that there were so many questions. Now I feel like I don't feel like we have to question about it right now.
No.
Because I think with the Nikisa and Jake and with the different sides that they're able to bring into the tables, I feel like, hey, this is the light at the end of the tunnel that we were wondering where it was going to come from.
And I think so. Man, so many good points there, and there's things I want to talk about. Like, number one, I know Don Davis takes a lot of flack, and people are, have taken shots at him and this and that. But it was his decision to put John Martin in charge, and I think this move, probably Don would have had a hard time doing it on his own,
100%.
right? Kind of because it's your baby, you birthed it, you founded it, And I know Don has been a venture capitalist and he's exited a lot of companies, but this one felt like it was his.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was the face of it, whereas before you're just kind of some money in a boardroom behind it or whatever.
Yep.
Here you have to kind of maybe swallow the pride is the right word or whatever, just to admit, like, hey man, this isn't going to proceed properly unless, because he's kind of given up the name, right? Now you're going to be PFL MMA. So he may have struggled to do that, or MVP MMA, I should say. He may have struggled to do that. So I think that was good. And I think the foresight of him to realize, hey, we're not getting to a good place. We got to put somebody else in charge that's going to do it. And I think John Martin, again, I've said it from the beginning. I love him coming into the organization. I think he's
a lot easier for him to say, yes, I agree with name changes than your baby. Right?
It's not your baby.
It's not your baby.
Now I'm just making a promise. I'm just making a business decision. So I 100%. Think this was wise by everybody involved.
Yep.
But you said, I think Netflix absolutely stays. I think that's. I don't think they go. I mean, that I think is. MVPs,
they saw crazy numbers. How could they have not been happy after that event?
And again, I think it's going to be as we talked about, MVP or Netflix has said we don't want to do a full season of anything, so they're not going to do everything. But here's what I think is back on the table. I think ESPN's back on the table. Maybe I'm wrong. This kind of felt like, hey, man, we're just biding our time until we get out of this contract. And, again, kudos to John Martin for just being honest about don't love the fact that they keep moving us to different dates. Don't love the fact that they keep moving us to different times. Don't love the fact that sometimes it's hard to find where we are. And I know a lot of people, like I do pay for the ESPN Unlimited package. It's like $40 a month or whatever. I know a lot of people don't, so I get it all. But I probably
don't watch it as much as I should.
I definitely don't watch it for $40
a month. Expensive.
It is expensive, but I got everything. I could be wrong, but I think this puts them back on the table.
Do you think they would put him back on the table just for MMA only, or do you think that they would do it with the understanding that boxing throws them?
So they already have a relationship with MVP for boxing, and that's why I think it. And that's why, because 100% they want both. They need content. Everything is content. Everything is content now, right? I think it brings them back on the table.
Interesting. I didn't realize they had the boxing side. I thought that was all kind of going wherever, but. Granted, I don't watch all their boxing events, so
I mean, so we talk about content. I thought this was, and again, press releases are press releases.
Yeah.
But and sometimes they're just wordy and whatever. But I do love the little pieces of nuggets that you can bring out. When you think about it, I thought this was interesting. In 2026 alone, PFL will produce 24 events across 11 countries, delivering approximately 150 hours of live content to fans. That is a really small number, 150 hours. When you think about how much programming there is.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how valuable this content is that people need. Live sports is the only thing that works right now, right? It's really, it's the only thing that's destination viewing that gets people in at a certain time. And I know the PFL's
that's
not
AI
right now.
created.
It's not AI created.
But the last bastion of real shit before it gets all replaced.
True, man. It's so true. And in fact, I think that was in Jake Paul's quote. He said something about, let me see if this one, maybe it was the MVP release. Yeah, actually, this was, again, press releases, and they're pretty boring, right?
Yeah, and they're just high level glam and glitz. Like, hey, look at this little thing. This is great.
100%.
Here's the story of this company and this company, and contact us for more info.
And by the way, we were this many millions in the hole before we got. But to your point, this is funny. In Jake Paul's quote, I have more conviction in MVP than ever, driven by the proliferation of AI, which will only increase the value of real live experiences and the sports properties that can bring fans closer to the athletes they love.
That's funny. I didn't realize he said that, but it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. And again, speaks to the point, too, that Jake Paul has vision, understands, sees movement, sees opportunities.
It's funny because doesn't he have another side investment that's in AI?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
the kid's sharp.
Again, hey, that's a different press release. That's a different thing. Jake Paul did, by the way, tease that he will make his MMA debut. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I mean, Francis Ngannou was also going to be the head of the greatest PFL signing ever. Jake Paul was also going to fight in PFL. So we'll see. I believe it. I believe they'll do something with him on Netflix.
I have no doubt. I mean, the kid says he's going to do it. At this point, I don't doubt what he says, unless he says he's going to run for president. But at this point, maybe.
Who knows? Who knows?
Give him 20 years. But no, that's pretty cool and good for him. I mean, like if he says he's going to do it, and I believed him a while back when he said that he wanted to try to take the time. And when we saw the effort and the discipline he put into his boxing training, to think that he couldn't go into MMA, of course he could.
Especially because
he's just going to do it right. I mean, the guy picks good boxing fights for himself. He's going to pick good MMA fights for himself as well.
You see the past. So again, they do a great job of picking opponents. They do a fantastic job.
Which is kind of sad when you think about it. Just with his boxing experience, the high level that he's fought, to go 0-0, to go fight a dude that's making his debut in pro boxing, as well. Granted, they're going to skip over the dudes that got 30 amateur fights that don't count. But if you're just going purely on experience of MMA, a 0-0 dude, his level of combat sports is going to put him steps above. It's going to be way high. You know, so like it's going to be pretty rough for whoever he goes.
Because of the wealth that he's amassed for himself, that he's earned, when he's like, he can literally just go all in. Like he can do, as you said, he's going to do it right. He can do a proper training camp, proper coaches, proper nutrition,
all the supplements,
all
the supplements.
So anyway, look, we could go on about this forever. At the end of the day,
it's a pretty cool thing.
They still have an uphill battle. They still got to get brand recognition. They still got to get, increasing audiences. But we've been saying, I feel like the PFL is doing all the right things, and I've been talking about this move from when I saw that John Martin was attending the MVP event. To me, the writing was on the wall. Like, look at these two organizations. Again, now John just making business decisions. It's not his baby. These things help each other a lot. So I am excited. They still an uphill battle. And let me clarify. I'm not saying that by them succeeding, the UFC is suddenly going to be hurting. No. The UFC is doing just fine. They're going to keep plodding along. They're going to keep doing their thing. They're going to keep having huge pay-per-views. Like, this is not going to take away from the UFC. I just see this as a good thing for our industry, man.
It's a great thing for the industry. It's pretty darn cool. I mean, it certainly shows that they're, the best thing, as we've always said, is there opportunities for fighters. Now there's more opportunities for boxers. Now there's more opportunities for people to see new content and see stuff that maybe gets other people into it. I think it's pretty cool.
I do too.
I think it's pretty cool, man.
I do too. I'm excited to see where that. Again, they got to get a good broadcast deal. But man, they're negotiating that right now. This is perfect timing, right? Like, you get to go show them the numbers you had on Netflix. You get to go show them what you've done. Jake Paul obviously, has a name, and Nikisa understands the business. I think this is a good thing.
And they just got to get the fighters. At the end of the day, if your fighters suck, it doesn't matter what name you put on, doesn't matter what team, what branding, what neat graphics and whatever. But they've done pretty darn good, and we know the PFL's got some really gems on their roster. And even watching the MVP MMA, a lot of the guys fighting were older, but some of the other cats that they had, the young guys, were some legit prospects, legit dudes. So I'm really excited to see. I mean, like, we're going to get the chance to see guys that the UFC can't take everybody.
Can't take everybody.
Not everybody's at that level, but also they just can't fit everybody on the roster. So the fact that they're able to find these other athletes, and if they do, knowing what Jake and those guys and their understanding of, like, the social space and what characters, we've always said characters are what's going to build a brand. It's what's going to make an event just over the top. They do what they do, man, and pick the right fighters. I'm really excited just to see people that I never even knew existed out there. And once they get them out there, if they perform, why not, man? Then why not that this can't do amazing things? So it's pretty darn cool, man.
I love it, man. I'm happy for everybody. And the PFL is doing a really good job. I can tell you, they just signed a couple guys off our roster. Like, they're doing a good job of.
I mean, that's an unbiased take, I mean,
they're doing a fantastic job of talent evaluation. But what I see is that, I think in the older
now you got to train
iterations,
people instead of just having them come up there and be like, you're gonna ask for your UFC shot. Now you got to start working in the PFL.
We're still on UFC Fight Pass, so we are still on UFC. That cracked me up so much when Robert Watley. So Robert Watley was one of our champions that did want to go back to PFL. And his logic behind the scenes was good, because it's when they were still doing the $1 million tournament.
Oh yeah.
And he's a little older in the game. Not that he's old, but he's like, listen, man, at my age, like, the chance of building all the way up versus, like, just going to a tournament and win 3 fights and take $1 million. He's like, to be honest, and he had the backstory that he had gone to the PFL before, it didn't go his way. So it's like, you can say, like, well, I want to right that wrong. You know what I mean? I went there and it just burns inside me. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I wanted.
I can't sleep at night. The memories.
Gotta shake it off. Like, the UFC would be great, but no, I need to set. But in reality, you're like, bro, it's the fastest way to $1 million.
It's the fastest
you know what I mean? But it was good. It's good logic. So he did. It was funny, and it was one of the events where I was actually doing the post-fight interviewing, and he was like, what's next for you, man? It's a huge win. He's like, I gotta go to the PFL, and I'm like, UFC's not bad either, like, hey, what about you? We are on UFC Fight Pass. It's a pretty good organization. He's like, nah. PFL, baby. But I will say, so PFL, and let's go all the way back to World Series of Fighting days, you think about them as taking high level, or taking high experienced, I should say, free agents and bringing the big names. And to be honest, I don't know that a 20-fight UFC veteran really moves the needle that much. It's like, bro, I've seen this dude fight 20 times. Like, I don't feel like I absolutely have to go see them now that they're fighting. Now, it's another thing if you're saying, we took we signed Alex Pajeda, or we signed Justin Gaethje, or we signed Ilia Topuria or whatever. Like if you're getting the highest of highest, like if you're snatching away champions, that's different. But I think just taking long-term veterans doesn't do it. But I think signing these prospects and getting guys that have, as you said, that have personality, that have a marketable image, that it factor, that fight, it's good, man. And I think they're doing a good job of that. So. Again, normally, for 590 weeks or whatever, obviously, the UFC is going to remain our main point of discussion always, man. It's the biggest organization in the sport. It is the most active. But today is a day that I think you really have to say, you know what, man?
Well done.
Well done. This is a partnership where it looks like it's not easy for companies to come together. For two companies to come together and say, you know what, man? It makes sense for us to do business together.
I think that's probably the toughest part. Like you said, even with Don Davis, not that it was even just an ego thing, but just like being able to like hand your baby off, But I think in this industry, ego is a lot of things. Can somebody, to kind of trust the process and give up some of those reins and think that somebody could maybe possibly help you do something better than what you can do on your own, that's a tough pill to swallow. But I mean, if it's the best thing, it's kind of interesting to see. So I think that's what probably slows a lot of things, that ego gets in the way. But in this point, man, people swallowed pride, decisions got made, and so I mean the potential for a bright future is definitely there. So nothing's set in stone. Just because they're doing it together doesn't mean it's going to work out. Right. But they certainly have pieces in play.
I feel like they got the pieces.
They got the pieces in play, man. It's pretty incredible, man. It's pretty cool. When I saw it, I was certainly excited and happy for them, happy for the staff. That I know a lot. We've seen some people of the PFL switching different companies. Was really sort of wondering what was going on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But to see this, I certainly didn't foresee this, at least not like this. But it's pretty cool.
I like it. And again, we're talking about good things for the industry. We still got the Scott Coker venture on the side that's coming up as well, and we're going to see all that coming together, and we'll see some smart people going to work for that. Obviously, he's bringing the band back together, right? CJ's so cool. there, Rich is there. You're getting all the old homies back together, and let's do it. So it'll be great.
That makes my heart so happy. Just hearing the names of the people that went back to it, I was just so happy. So cool.
Super cool. All right, from the highest to highest to the lowest to lows, the sport does entail. The Anthony Smith news is brutal. Yep. Obviously, and I've been saying it from the beginning. Let's wait for the facts. Let's wait for the facts. I'll admit, it doesn't sound great.
Yeah, the stuff that's out there is hard to read.
It is
hard to see.
I like Anthony Smith. I have liked Anthony Smith for a long time. I've often told the story of meeting him and the way I did, and I've just had an affinity for him and what he's built for himself. And man, he's always been a good dude behind the scenes. Like, he's the dude that will literally he's commentating a show, but he's at the Apex doing whatever, and he'll just sit down in the media room and just start shooting the shit with you or whatever. You know what I mean? Just saying what's up, catching up on the family, talking about the fights, whatever. He's a dude that is just a friendly guy and well liked. And so you hate to hear that it sounds like some alcohol fueled issues and does not sound good at all. So wanted to address it and just say, it sucks because I like Anthony a lot, man, and how much substance is played into this, how much look with athletes, with fighters in particular, you have to say CTE did it factor. And again, let's let the facts come out, let's find everything out, but it's the things that you worry about, right? And these athletes, and I know everybody's kind of tying it together to Dustin Poirier and tying it together to everything else. It's hard, man. It's hard when you're out of the spotlight, and it's you put your body and your brain and your mind through a lot, and it's challenging. I was actually watching it's funny, I was actually watching a WWE show last night. Actually, it was Dark Side of the Ring.
The new version?
The new version. I haven't
seen it. I heard it came out.
And this might be an old. To be honest, I don't know if this is an old one or not. But I was watching it last night, and it was somebody that I remember, Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man? And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was just starting to watch. And I was like, I gotta go to bed. I got stuff to do tomorrow. So I didn't watch the whole thing. But obviously, Dark Side. It doesn't end well.
Yeah. But it's not called the light side of the ring. The happy side of the ring.
It's always the dark side.
It's the dark side.
But it was interesting because I didn't realize he actually was a correctional officer. So he did work
They probably called him Big Boss Man.
And I think they called him Boss Man or something, because he was a big dude.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's how he became Big Boss Man.
Interesting.
But it did talk about how so the beginning of it was talking about it was his wife. I guess what do you call it when they're passed on?
Widow.
The widow. The widow was the one that I guess they were like high school sweethearts and had been with their whole life, and so she was actually helping narrate a lot of it. But she was telling the story of how they, not making much money as a correctional officer, obviously, just trying to struggle, pay the bills, all that. Then all of a sudden you go to making big money. And it's weird that I'm relating this to Anthony Smith and Dustin Poirier, but it is weird how you build yourself up to be this thing. Fighting is hard. I think the biggest thing to remember that you try to get people to center on is remember fighting is what you do. It's not who you are. But honestly, it is kind of who you are during your run, right? Because it's all encompassing of your life. It's your training regimen.
Yep.
It's your recovery regimen.
Yep.
But now it's your social media regimen. It's your, you gotta have a personality, and so I think that's what made me relate it to professional wrestling is you're building a persona. You're building who you are. You're wanting people to come see you, and then when you retire, it's kind of hard to shut that all off, right? For it all to just now I'm just now I don't worry about that all. Now I'm just family guy around here, and I mow the lawn and I take care of the dishes and I take Junior to school, and I don't know, it's challenging. So anyway, I don't know. This one just hit hard because I like Anthony a lot, and clearly it seems like what he is involved in is not good. And you hope everybody is okay. It seems like everybody's okay, which I guess, knock on wood, that's the healthy thing that nobody, because God, if somebody had died, now you're talking about ruining multiple lives, and this is something hopefully maybe you can come back from with counseling and with approach and all that. But I don't know, man. It's just a damn shame.
Yeah, it's really tough to hear. I mean, I'm glad that things didn't end up worse than what it was, and I know that there was the possibility of harm, for his wife and the other things, but they're also the self-inflicted harm. This could have been even a worse story if things had gotten worse, even what people said maybe could have happened to himself, or what he did to himself. I hope he gets the help that he needs. Again, it sucks because you hate having to try to find, this is one of the people's lowest things, and you're like, oh, here we are, our side of our brains that wants to have the full story, and so you please tell me more, and you're trying to dig in and get more facts about one of the lowest points in somebody's life. It kind of feels really shitty. But again, when somebody has been such a big part of our lives and we've been following for so long, you kind of want to have that clarity. Closure is not really the right word, but I want to fully understand. But the more you hear about it, it's just heartbreaking of some of the stuff. But at the end of the day, regardless, I'm glad that his family's okay. I hope he is okay. I hope he gets some, clarity on this moment, and maybe we all do get clarity, and maybe, I know immediately, I've seen a lot of people just immediately jump down and say, this is not the guy I thought he was, hell with him, blah, 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 and I hope the facts as everything comes out, clears up the situation, so where we have a better understanding of what his actual actions were, and, if a lot of these charges, because some of the domestic violence or some of the other ones, if that could have been still stemmed to violence and actions that he did upon himself, but it gets this worse title to it, I'd like to fully understand, but at the end of the day, it was a really, really shitty situation. I'm sorry for his family to have to go through that. I'm sorry that he himself allowed whatever to get to this point, alcohol and rage and, damaged brains, who knows what sort of thought process we're going that night. But I know in my past, I have had really bad anger issues, and I've done some really shitty stuff that I've regretted, and I'm thankful that, I haven't done it to the point of where but I think we're all capable as men and as women of doing some really shitty things when rage takes over and when anger takes over. And you hate to hear that from somebody that, you respect, but I understand, and I want to give the humanity side to that. I understand that, he could have did some really horrible things, but I will, try to have the understanding that, until I hear his side of the story and where his head was at the time, I have to try to give him, that chance for that to come out. So I try to withhold judgment until I understand.
I guess that's the hard part for me, is that I saw when social media came out again, and I'm coming from a place that I like Anthony personally. I mean, this is somebody that, I've had cold beers with. You know what I mean?
So many times. Well, it's funny because you mentioned like this. The guy did good things. One of the last times when I was in Brazil, like the last day before we left, and we're all just sitting on this little cabana, and then we end up joining Anthony and his friends, and it might have. I don't know if his wife was on that trip, but it could have just been like other friends or whatever. And me and Oscar, and I remember, you have the street peddlers that come over, and I remember this little kid came over with his little Mentos, and he was trying to sell some Mentos or whatever.
Yeah. Like you've had real world experiences.
Yeah, and Anthony like legit, I think gave the kid like a 50 or something more and bought the whole box. And I saw this kid skipping back to his family, and doing this stuff. And I was just like, I was like, dude, that was really freaking cool of you to do that, because you just changed that kid's whole day.
Yeah,
or
man.
Something.
See, the stuff like that's the position I'm coming from. And so like I see this news come out, and I saw all these people jumping on like, see, I knew that guy was a piece of shit, and I knew da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it's like, what I'm hearing again, I can't defend the actions. I mean, there's zero defending the actions, but it's like, can a good person have bad moments and do bad things and still at heart be a good person? You know what I mean? Just make it. Now, if you make the mistake, and again, thank God something didn't happen where somebody dies and now that you can't take back, right? And now your entire life's ruined and your entire family's ruined, and thank God it didn't happen. But if you can take that moment and change from it, you know what I mean? And realize I can never allow myself to be in a position like that. Can't you still be a good person? You know what I mean? Can a good person do dumb shit and make mistakes and have horrible moments, the lows of their life? I think so. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just bothered me right away. People are just like, I knew that guy was a piece.
I mean,
I don't think he is. But but I'm not trying to say like, and he's right, I'm not trying to defend the guy. Like, I just feel like you can still be a good person and do dumb, horrific, terrible things, and that doesn't make you a horrible human on top of it.
I mean, I think you could still hope for a person to be a good person and not in that same instance defend a horrible act or a horrible decision or something that they did. Like you said, I've seen Anthony do some really great things. We've had great conversations. I remember times when he'd come into a press conference and was like, who's here from Junkie? And he just wanted to bash because none of us picked him on our staff picks. And he wanted to just like bust my balls,
Fun.
But to do something that was horrific and whatever, I'm not going to, sentence the dude to the death penalty, for it. And like you said, at the end of the day, I'm glad that he didn't do something that you can't come back from. But it's interesting that you see a lot of people just immediately bash him, and a lot of these same people say that, maybe I'll get shit for this, say that they're Christians and say that they're other. How can you then, just jump on this dude when you're supposed to be able to redeem yourself? You're supposed to be able to make mistakes.
Absolutely. And
if you atone for these mistakes and you do the right things, you should be able to be forgiven. And if these people can't do that, then it's hard for me when some people just immediately are just like, oh no, he's fucking dead to me, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's not very Christian like.
I know.
But while you're trying to maintain and do other things, but again, at the end of the day, I'm so happy that his family's okay.
Yep.
I hope they get the help that they need. I hope they're surrounded by the loved ones that they need, and I hope Anthony is surrounded as well by the loved ones that he needs, and he gets the help that he needs. But he has to answer for this, and as the story comes out, we'll have a better, clear understanding about whatever. But it doesn't change the memories of what we've seen or whatever, But it's, again, at the end of the day, whether you're a fighter, whether you're not a fighter, people are capable of making some really shitty decisions and bad mistakes, and I don't want to just immediately blame the fact that he's a fighter or that, he's taken the damage. Sometimes, it certainly could attribute to this. Alcohol easily could have been a big attributing factor to this. But, sometimes, people just really do some shitty stuff that you wonder, like, bro, you just temporarily lost your damn mind, and I hope you can figure out what happened in your brain to make you think that it was okay to do whatever. But I don't know. I guess, again, I take it for myself. I've done some really shitty stuff. I'm glad it was when I was younger and rage was a big. So now I'm here growing fucking seedlings and I'm trying to like go out camping. I'm trying to do things. I'm on a different side. I've learned how to try to deal with something. Anthony, you want to learn how to kill some seedlings with me? Like, bro, I got you. But yeah, man. It's an unfortunate thing. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not think that CTE and some of the other stuff played into it. But a lot of times, even with Dustin saying like, alcohol doesn't. drugs and alcohol is a poison, folks.
It is.
I mean, it can really clog the brain, and especially it's one thing if you're just having a drink or whatever, but I think they were out at a bar when it started, so I know we've done some work at bars before, and I've certainly gotten bar fights at a bar because my rage has got out of control. Yeah, who knows, but I hope to see what comes from this and what he does to correct the things in his life, and we'll see what happens. But again, I know we've said it over. I hope his family's okay. That's the biggest thing at the end of the day.
Definitely the biggest thing. All right, listen, a lot of fights this weekend, so I will say, like I said, I'm going to send out a reminder. We talked about it a little bit already, but if you're not a PFL fan or you haven't been watching PFL, maybe this is the Saturday night you turn it on. You're not going to miss any UFC by doing it because, once again, just like last week, they're not opposing each other, so you're not going to miss the UFC that you love to tune in and check out a little PFL. And again,
yes, at what, 7 a.m.?
Yeah, very, very early.
Dude, I like these morning ones.
Last Saturday, I was 6 a.m., bro.
So
I got fights on, coffee.
My day was off, but the staff was on, and I immediately chimed in. I was like, let's go, guys. And I think they'd probably just be like, what is this dude doing? But it's like if fights are on and it's morning, I'm usually up at that time anyways to go walking. So I'm like, if there's UFC fights on, it's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., bro.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's do it, man. And then you get the PFL at night. So this is a PFL worth checking out. The UFC, look, it's a top-heavy card. Obviously, just like Abu Dhabi, you got a lot of athletes from the region that you probably don't necessarily recognize, names you're not familiar with. I'm not saying it's not worth your time. It definitely is. I'm probably most excited, to be honest, on paper about Ludovic Klein versus Tofik Musayev. I love that matchup. I think that one looks to be very exciting. Obviously, got Dennis Buzukja back as well. But Mateusz Rebecki is always a fun fight against Kyle Prepolek. I mean, up and down, there's some matchups that I think are intriguing. But obviously, the most impactful stuff is up at the top of the card. I am very, very excited to see Alexander Rakic at heavyweight. A lot of times when people move weight classes, I feel like they're just desperate for something that's not going to really get better by changing weight classes. This is a huge dude that struggled at light heavyweight that I think maybe his skills will translate well to heavyweight. So I'm actually excited to see what he does against Marcin Tybura. And then, of course, a very difficult matchup for Jan Blachowicz, man, at this point in his career against the young undefeated Navajo Sterling. Jan. Love Jan. Great interview. He's had some great fights. He's a fun dude, but he's just getting up there as well.
Yeah. He's still got that Polish power.
Still got the legendary Polish power.
Boy, what a trophy on the wall for Navajo Sterling if he can get past Jan. This would be huge.
And I feel like that's what's
that kid is a stud,
here.
man.
He is a stud, man.
He is a stud.
And I feel like that's what's being done here is to give him that skin on the wall, that recognizable name, that signature victory. And then I will say this, man. I was really I don't disagree that Uros Medic, especially at home and all that, is definitely the favorite. And so again, it's funny because sometimes I look at odds and I'm just shocked by them. Even though
how bad is it?
It's Uros is minus 425 and D-Rod is plus 325. So it's not quite Dakota Ditcheva levels.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, and again, I know this doesn't make sense maybe logically because my pick is also Uros Medic. You know what I mean? So but I don't know, and I just see that big of a difference. But D-Rod is, he's 39 now, and he was in jail for a long time, and your skills aren't getting better in a Mexican prison, and it's a time away. And
who knows? His cardio fitness level might be just nuts right now.
Jacked,
he's like, bro, I did nothing but calisthenics and push-ups for a year.
So I do. So it's weird. I do get the odds, but they were just a little bit jarring to me when I saw them. So
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean. It feels like he's been gone longer. I mean, his last fight was legit just over a year ago, and that was against Kevin Hahn, which he won. Mm-hmm. The fight before that, Ponzinibbio, he won. Mm-hmm. Alex Morono, before that, he won. So, I mean, the dude's fighting some good dudes. I mean, this is a fight that knowing Rodriguez, man, the dude's going to walk for it, and he has power. I mean, for people to just discount him and say he doesn't have a chance in this fight, I think would just be absolutely silly. Right? I think he would just be ridiculous.
That's why I think the odds would shock me.
He wins the fights that people think he's not going to win. I certainly had Holland beating him. Mm-hmm. Wrong. I mean, it's crazy. So I did pick Medic as well, but honestly, dude, if I would not be surprised if Daniel just goes out there, smokes him, and he's like, "What? Y'all thought I was gone? You know what? Like it's going to be interesting." But I'm looking forward to that main event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's good. It's certainly going to be two dudes that are throwing down. I mean, we're not going to see two dudes, clamoring to, pull guard and start doing a jiu-jitsu. This is not going to be a jiu-jitsu match.
No disrespect to anybody involved, but it will be better than last week's main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like Ankalaev, and I know Bogdan stepped into a difficult situation and all the change-ups.
Yeah.
So I never want to throw shade on anybody. But I did not walk away from last week's main event going, this is my favorite sport.
No.
This one I think is gonna be a little bit more fun.
This one I think people are gonna be excited, and it's gonna be like earlier in the day. We're gonna see, and especially that right after that co-main, the co-main main combo should be absolutely fireworks. But yeah, watching the rest of this card going up into this, I think it's gonna be a good day, and I love that it's starting early.
And then you get your PFL at night, so tune back in.
Yeah.
'Cause I think there's big things on the horizon for them.
Good things.
Love it. I feel like it's good. Like I said, I feel like this is a good time for the sport. I like good energy. I like good companies that look like they're gonna make waves, and they're not just there to burn through cash and make some ill-fated effort at doing something like. And again, we still don't have. The Coker news and exactly what that's going to entail. We just know bits and pieces of it. So I think it's
which will we hear first, Bellator or GFL? Or I'm sorry, Coker's new thing or GFL?
Oh, look, man. And again, I'm not trying to throw shade on nobody, but I see GFL still out there stoking the flames.
They're still out there stoking it.
They're gonna. I think they're at the. Were they doing an event at Sam's Town? I think they're doing an event in Vegas.
Oh my goodness gracious! That flew under the radar. Somehow I probably heard GFL and was like, "Yeah, get freaking out of here."
I know. And
get
again,
freaking out of here, league. It should be the GFOL.
Let's see. Hold on. When is the first ever event? Saturday, October the 17th. So it's not that far away. It's here. It's at the Sam's Town Gambling Hall in Vegas. So
still 3 months. A lot could fall out by then.
Maybe we have
That's interesting. Sam's Town. Sam's Town's cool. If you ever go bowling up there, that's good. I've went up there bowling sometimes. That's pretty nice. Old school bowling alley.
I mean, I never want to throw shade. The more people involved, the better. I feel
threw
like
shade on themselves.
They burn people, man.
Yeah, they burned a lot of people.
And when you burn people, and especially, the concept always seemed, ill-advised anyway. And then when you burn people and you screw people over, and I don't know, man. Again, as much as I try to be positive and good for the sport, like, I don't know, once you burn somebody, I start looking at you a little bit quizzically and just being like, bro, can you?
I mean, everybody took them on their face value when they came out. They were talking a good game, and everybody was like, oh, this is, good for them, good for these old timers, and everybody's getting a shot. And then it was just like, oh, wow, you had people jump out of contracts to come over to you, and then you did not give them a fight.
So, October 17th. The UFC is in Edmonton, Alberta, so it's just a fight night in Canada. I imagine you won't have too much work to do on that night. I imagine if you have any on-site presence, I'm sure the young Mike Bond will be there as a Canadian gentleman.
Depends. I might have to do some remote editing. If not, I always put in for the GFL. That can be interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
They're like, we'll do whatever you want. You want to get in there and shoot some footage of inside the ring? Go ahead.
Maybe we go over there and check it out. Maybe we give him a shot.
That could be interesting.
Maybe we give him a shot.
October 17th, huh?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. We got
a lot of time
to them. All right, listen, a lot of MMA this weekend. Also tomorrow, or next week, I should say, we'll get together on Tuesday because I am leaving Tuesday night to head out to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, the nasty natty.
The Buckeye State.
Are you going to get you some Skyline chili?
I was never a fan of Skyline chili, especially as a Texas guy. If anybody does Skyline chili,
especially if you're going chili for chili, like Texas chili and Skyline
it's not
chili,
the same thing.
Very, very different. But they're little chili dogs, when you could throw down about 6 of those little fuckers.
If anybody doesn't know, that Skyline is it an Ohio thing or a Cincinnati thing?
It's Cincinnati.
It's a Cincinnati thing.
I mean, it's which is in Ohio, but people think of it as Cincinnati.
I do, because it's been a long time. So I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for a year, which is just outside of Cincinnati.
I lived right across the river.
Right across the river. I live, the airport that we fly to, obviously, the Cincinnati Airport, is in Kentucky. I lived in Dayton for a year. The last place I lived, actually, before I moved to Las Vegas, I lived for 1 year in Dayton, Ohio, when I was working for Abuelos. So this will be my first time back in Ohio since then. But, our first event for CFFC in Cincinnati. But yes, for anybody that doesn't know what Skyline Chili is, if you want to look it up, it is the trademark signature local taste.
Yeah,
and
it's even got the skyline in the skyline of their logo. It's got the Cincinnati skyline in their logo.
It's chili, but it's got like a cinnamony,
chocolatey something or other.
And you
it's
put it on
macaroni.
And you put it on macaroni.
You can put it on all kinds of stuff.
But that's the signature dish, right? Is on the mac.
Yeah, you can get on spaghetti or whatever, and you can get it with the onions and all kinds of other stuff.
Or you can put it on the chili dog.
Or you put it on the chili dog, and then they load it up with that cheese.
Yes, I don't think I was properly prepped for it the first time I tried it, because I was like, well, I'm from Texas.
I like chili.
Not like I eat chili all the time, but yeah, I like
probably
chili.
Seemed runny for you, probably.
Very runny to me. And then obviously like that cinnamon flavor kind of surprised me a little bit, and I was just like, I'm out. I'm out. I had it once. I'm like, I'm good.
As somebody that likes chili, there's a big difference between like a Texas chili and like a Skyline chili. But the Skyline, those little chili dogs, man, I remember smashing those things because they're not a big chili dog. And just smash like 6 of them and then just be completely like
maybe just for old time's sake.
For old time's sake, you gotta have a little
something
just to say that you did.
So we'll preview that card next week. But yes, I think, and so actually. The next 3 weeks we'll get together early in the week because I've got a show on August 7th in Cincinnati. August 14th, the card is coming together. Super nice for Philadelphia, the 2300 Arena. UFC Brass is going to be in the building, man. The matchmakers are going to be there. Hunter Campbell's going to be there. Dana White's going to try to make it by as well. The PFL staff is going to, or PFL staff, the UFC Fight Pass. PFL staff will not be there. That would be odd. The UFC Fight Pass staff is going to be there as well, so they're going to.
What are you guys doing here? Is there something that we don't know about?
Hey, we're scouting talent too.
Hey, there you go.
We're scouting talent too. Hey, listen, I will say again. Bottom line, we're on UFC Fight Pass. We're trying to get athletes ready for the UFC.
Yeah.
But, man, if the PFL comes calling first, nothing wrong with taking a few fights over there, building 100%. Your record. Just because you –
it's about just stepping up to the next level.
You're not going back over
That's
to the UFC.
It. And it's not like the UFC. If you go and, if the numbers worked out and Dakota had an offer at the UFC, you think they're going to say no? It would be absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't matter. It's about just getting to that next level and then proving yourself. And then if you prove yourself – the door's open everywhere. As long as you don't say something or do something where you shut the door.
That's it.
And do something.
Don't burn a bridge.
Before you realize you need it. But yeah, I mean, like, that would be incredible if these CFFC guys, yes, obviously the UFC is the dream, but the way that the PFL has been positioning itself, it would be as equal a good opportunity to go to. It'd be silly to not do it. But yeah, I mean, that would be awesome if you had both organizations cherry picking and going into like in your fights. How cool would that be to get people to come up and be like, there's the possibility you're going to have matchmakers for multiple MMA organizations.
Awesome,
How cool is that? That'd be pretty cool.
And that's all I want to do. Like, that's what I love about this so much is, like, help just giving athletes a platform to chase their dream and to achieve their dream, right? It would be so awesome to be like, man, you know what? We held a card and UFC snatched up 3 guys and PFL snatched up 3 guys.
How cool would that be?
You know what I mean? Like,
how cool is that?
Let's go. You know what I mean?
Pretty cool.
That's what it's about. So, anyway, all right, listen, a lot of MMA to watch this weekend. I think we're going to look back a year, 2 years from now. We're going to look back on this announcement this week as, man, that was a big moment. That was a good thing for the organization. And, again, I'll say it again. Don't think it hurts the UFC with what they're doing at all. Does not slow down the monster. Things are going to keep going. They're crushing it globally. This is just a good thing for people in our industry to have opportunities. I mean, even just production people and journalists and the whole thing. I think it's a good thing. So
good thing.
It's got me in upbeat spirits. Enjoy the mixed martial arts this weekend. We'll get together early next week to talk about everything that unfolded, preview what's happening next weekend as well. In the meantime, thanks for listening.